So what's going on, guys? This is a little separate or different way of recording. I have a fisheye lens on my camera, and I'm very close to the camera. It might not look like it on the camera, but if you guys don't know what a fisheye lens does, I'm looking at my viewfinder here. That's kind of what it does. It makes you all look weird and like a fish. Anyways, I was filming with some friends, and that's why I have this on. If you guys like it, let me know, but if not, I'll take it off for next time. I just didn't feel like taking it off for this time. So let's get on with the topic. Alright, the topic for today is net decking slash deck testing. Well, not the net decking part, because people net deck, but deck testing your deck before you go and play. Because I'm seeing, and I'm guilty of this. Hold on a second, my hat is pissing me off. Okay, that's better. Anyways, see people playing at tournaments and stuff like that, and they always say how I didn't deck test good enough or stuff like that, and this is with YCS2, and I'm not naming anybody names, and I'm not bashing them because I'm guilty of this. This is not a matter of calling out somebody because they say they suck or anything like that. Not even close. But the point of it is that even if you go to locals or something, and that's kind of the place you go to play against people, play against friends, stuff like that, to test a deck that you don't want to do on Dev Pro or a Dual Network. But if you're taking it to a tournament, it should be a deck that you've played for, I don't think even like a week. I feel like it takes a long time to really know a deck inside and out. So I played Battle and Boxers pretty much since it came out. And I don't mean to go on like a rant or anything about this, but that is just a deck that I am good at. I thought I was I'm like decent at life. So I'm decent at other decks. I mean decent as in like mediocrely decent at decks that I enjoy. Like Raccoons, I played it for a solid couple months, and I knew how to play it, but like I still don't think I play it the best, even though some people's calls on like what to play in the deck is ridiculous. There's the one that just topped recently, and my deck profile was pretty similar to his that topped, yet people were still complaining about my deck on how it wasn't played right. I don't understand that thought process at all. But anyways, Battle and Boxers I've been playing for 2 years now so far, and I know the deck in and out. Like when I play it in person, like you can hand me the deck, even if you built your own version, and I would understand what to do instantly. Because yes, it's a pretty simple-minded deck, but I have seen people play online, even though I haven't seen many people playing online in a long time. But when I do go against online people, they're playing a wrong build, or they're trying to experiment with a different build, or they're playing like a very similar one to mine, but they don't do the right things at the right time. Even though it is a very simple deck, they just don't think to do the right things. And yes, they could be player to player, they don't know the deck well enough, but that's what I'm getting at. Deck testing, or just playing a deck, even if it's not your main one, playing it for a long time, because for a while Raccoons were my main one, but I still had Boxers, and I still would play it once in a while, is you really don't get to know a deck, even after a couple months of playing. You get to know it when you've gone through different builds. You're trying to make out how faster it is. New cards come out, and you try to fit it all in there. How good is a monster count? Like before, when our Battle and Boxers were decent, we only had 1 Rhoda. Now we're up to 3 Rhoda. That made it a lot better. I also had to take out other cards for new ones. And now I have a build that I'd say, if you ask one of my friends that played against me, or if you play against me online, which, by the way, there might be something like that coming soon if you want to duel me. Just saying, just a little sneak peek. But I know the deck inside out. That's pretty much the moral of the story. I know the deck. But that's the type of deck I would take to a tournament. Even though, if I wanted to go to a YCS, I'd probably pick up something probably a lot more competitive, but I would probably end up losing quickly, just for the pure fact that even though it's a powerful deck, I just don't know how to play that well. Even if I gave myself a month to teach myself and play it enough, I probably wouldn't be as good as someone who's been playing it for 5 months. And it's not because I don't pick up on things quick enough, it's just like, that person probably, if they've been playing that deck, knows the in and outs about it like that. Like, they know what to play at the right time. Like, sometimes people get new pickup decks and they just don't know, oh yeah, I could have been doing this when that card was played or something. Battle and Boxers, I know what to do, when to do it, everything, the time to do it, what card to use, whatever. Like, I just know. And I'm not trying to be self-confident about myself, that's like the only deck I know that with, so that's kind of depressing for a guy who plays Yu-Gi-Oh! But like, I know what to do to get myself out of jam, how to keep recurring my cards, keep using it correctly, what cards to pick out back. It's a deck that I think I would probably take to a tournament simply because I'm so good at it. There's a fine line. What would you rather take to a tournament? Would you rather take a deck that isn't the greatest, but you're super great at it? Or a deck that is really great, but you're not the best at it? I know that probably counter-hitches each other, but there's going to be a lot of other people at a tournament that are playing the deck and aren't the best at it. Let me hear. There's going to be a lot of people that are really good at it too. But if you take a deck that you are solid pro at, you know every card or whatever, even though it's a little less weaker, like my Battle Boxers, I know for a fact, because I've done Dev Pro and other things like that, that I might not win the tournament, definitely not, but I would be able to do just as good as the guy who doesn't know the powerful deck. Because I've proven that online before, I've proven it in real life. You take someone who doesn't know the powerful deck as well as another person, so my lower powerful deck with my high amount of skill for that deck can overcome it. And I know I've been ranting about my boxers and skill and whatever, and your know-how, but really that's what it comes down to, is if you're going to take something to a tournament really good, make sure you really know what you're doing with it. Make sure you're really good with it. You've deck tested it tons and tons and tons of times. You know everything to do about it, because in the end, the deck is only as good as the player. And back in before, people say you could give Dragon Rulers to anybody and they'd win, and I always kind of not agreed with that, because you still had to know when to do what and when. And people who suck don't know when to do that. So I know this is a rant, and it's probably a lot longer than it should have been. A lot longer than it should have been. But if you know what you're doing, playing a lower meta deck, or a deck that you enjoy that's decent, isn't always a bad choice to go play competitively over a deck you don't know. And now I know the argument is with that. Just go make that deck that's competitive your go-to deck that you know it that well. Which I agree. But I feel like you should have tons and tons and tons of games, months and months with it, playing online constantly, for that to be the case. I don't feel like a month or a couple weeks before one is the way to go with it. So, guys, let me down below, what do you think is better? Do you think somebody who, a somewhat newer player to a highly competitive deck is the way to go, or someone who knows the deck in and out, but it's a little bit lower competitively? And like I said, I know you can put the two of them together and be the best player at the best deck. But I'm saying, if you were to pick between those two, what do you think would have been the better option? If I was just ranting and you don't get the rant, then apologize, but basically the end of the rant was, deck testing is important. And knowing your deck is important. Yeah, I'll see you later, guys. Peace. And I won't have it!